What's up, everybody? Today we're going to talk about two-sentence theology. What does that mean? I'm going to tell you. Two-sentence theology. What does it mean to be able to reduce all of what we believe about God and reduce it to two sentences? This is an endeavor that should be extremely hard, but fortunately for us, when we read scripture, Jesus beat us to the punch. And he did it ever so effortlessly, which I appreciate about him. He just kind of does things well, and he does them quickly. And two-sentence theology, to me, is the fact that Jesus can sum up this much. Here's the whole Bible, right? Can sum up this whole thick 1,800 pages down to two sentences. In Mark 12:29 through 31, Jesus says, the sum of all the law and the prophets, that entire first 1,800 pages, that's a rough estimate. The Old Testament, his scripture is a first century Jew. That was the entirety of their scripture at the time. He said, all that is summed up in two commandments, two laws. I call them two sentences because they are. Love the Lord your God with your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Now, following Jesus, I'm not going to say Christianity as a whole, but following Jesus can become very convoluted very quickly. We find ourselves going down a path. Oftentimes that includes going to a church service once or twice a week, maybe doing a Bible study, maybe going to a couple of prayer meetings. And these are all these ancillary things that are added to the process. I go back to the two sentences. Love the Lord your God with their heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Two sentences can sum up your entirety of your theology, and everything else is the playing out of those two sentences. So for me, I would say, as you are following Jesus and you're going about your day, it's really easy to get caught up with all these big theological concepts or words, millennialism, amillennial, postmillennial, premillennial, man, so many big words, studying soteriology and Christology and the atonement and what all that includes, and heaven and hell and pneumatology and numerology, and there's all these ologies and isms of how we can follow God and how we can develop our theology into something that's very heady and not necessarily hardy. And so it's easy to do that. And it's easy to get caught up in all these actions of these additional things that we're supposed to do as followers of Jesus. And what I propose to you is that you press pause on that. Press pause and dial back to the two-sentence theology. How do I love the Lord my God with my heart, soul, mind, and strength? And how do I love my neighbor as myself? And having a dialogue with the Lord about this. Yes, you can read scripture. Yes, you can read historical accounts of what other Christians have done. But really, as you go about your day, Jesus, talk to me. John 10:10, my sheep know my voice. Jesus, talk to me. What does it look like to love you with my heart, soul, mind, and strength today? And don't jump into all four in one day. Don't jump into all four in a week. Take your time and bask in that. Spend a year or two or three just focusing on dialing into loving the Lord your God with your heart, your soul, your mind, and your strength. Don't run from that. Jump into that and stay there, bathe there, rest there. pray there, focus there, encounter others there. And then whenever you go about loving your neighbor yourself, Lord, what does it look like to love this person as my neighbor? And don't get caught up in who is my neighbor. Receive everyone as your neighbor. What does it mean to love them? Love my neighbor as myself. What does that look like? It's simple. It's 2 sentences. Love the Lord your God with your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Sit there, focus on that, dial in. Don't get super complex, super quick with your journey with Jesus. Start there, because that's the entirety of the scriptures that Jesus had in the first century as a Jewish man. Sit there, bathe there, and see what Jesus teaches you. I think that's the main fundamentals of Christianity hinge on those 2 things. I actually think that the New Testament all flows out of that being like the banner of how to do things. And then Jesus shows us how to do that in the rest of the New Testament. And, an example of this is I consider the 2 sentences to be the cornerstone, the foundation, the building blocks, the fundamentals of Christianity. And I had a coach in college who he would always say that the team that consistently did the fundamentals the most and the most consistent, and the ones who did that and boiled it down and did that every single play in the game, more times than not, they would win the game. And he boiled it down to fundamentals. So we would just practice fundamentals over and over and over. The proper tackling form, the proper stance, the proper moves, breaking it down to each minute detail and just doing it over and over and over. So that's my challenge to you. Dial back on your search for theology and dial into the two sentence theology that sums up the entirety of Jesus' scriptures, and sit there and wait and focus and worship there and love others out of there and stay there. Don't run from there too soon. Don't get caught up in the geopolitical, theological, trying to understand what God is doing on this huge macro level, but rather focus on this micro level of the 2 sentence theology. Pretty simple, pretty quick. I think simple is good. And I hope this is encouraging. I hope this challenges you to dial back. I hope this challenges you to focus in on the things that Jesus himself said were the 2 greatest commands, and nothing else surpassed that. And I hope that you get some breakthrough in understanding what it means to love God with your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and what it means to love others and to love yourself and to love others as yourself. Hope this is encouraging. Thank you so much for watching Unbranded Christianity. My name is Matthew Burrell, and I'm so grateful for you and for you to be here and listening. Hope this helps. Have a good one.